So I'm a bit sad right now. Why? Because this is going to be the final instant reaction of the 49ers preseason following a practice before we go into regular season mode. So let's pour one out for the instant reactions that have gone back through training camp until this point, with the 49ers 53-man roster officially complete. The skyscraper is finished. Take a look at the team out there today, starting with new quarterback Adrian Martinez, who's on that San Francisco practice squad. Went through the 49ers footwork drills for the first time. That's Mick Lombardi, the quarterback's coach, working with Martinez, a product of Clovis West High School in Fresno. He also was born in Hanford. Have to shout out to everybody back in that Visalia, Fresno, Hanford area. Adrian Martinez, dual threat quarterback, is going to be good on the 49ers scout team this year. There's Clay Kubiak with Christian McCaffrey, one of the 49ers A-list pillars. He's going to be bringing along a lot of these young guys. That's Brock Purdy. Not one of the young guys. Well, he is young, but he's one of the A-list pillars for the 49ers as well. There he is, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, MVS, veteran receiver, 6'4", has got that lanky build, 4'3", 40 for Marquez Valdes-Scantling. 49ers were able to sign him to their practice squad. He's going to be there through at least week 1. That means that his contract is not going to vest into a full guarantee with the 49ers this year, and they're going to try to figure out the rest of the receiving room as they go over the course of this season. That is Sincere McCormick, new 49ers running back, previously with the Raiders. He's on the practice squad as well. You can see that McCormick is built a lot like Jordan James and Corey Kiner. 5'8", low to the ground, the relative athletic score similar as well. And oh yes, got to look at the new jerseys, Deommodore Lenoir's name on this particular mannequin. 49ers made a roster move today that we knew they'd make. We just didn't know who would be on the other half of it. Russell Gage has been re-signed to the 53-man roster. And to make room, the 49ers released the veteran safety Richie Grant. Grant had signed with this team around the same time as Jason Pinnock. Earlier this morning when John Lynch spoke on KMBR, he hinted at this because he said that the safety competition is between 3 guys, between Marquise Sigle, Jason Pinnock, and Jair Brown. He didn't mention Richie Grant's name. Well, he did, but he just essentially mentioned that Richie Grant was depth that wasn't competing for the starting position, and I thought that was funny when I heard him say that on KMBR. Well, it turns out that Richie Grant is being released to make room for Russell Gage on the 53-man roster. No more room on the 49ers practice squad right now because between the McCormick signing, the Adrian Martinez signing, and the Marquez Valdes-Scantling signing to the practice squad instead of injured reserve, all 16 spots are taken up. That means that Evan Anderson, no room for him, even if he does clear waivers. But obviously these rosters, even though we say that the construction is complete, well, you've got to still maintain it, and there's nothing that's ever static in the NFL. These rosters are fluid through the course of the year. The 49ers remain interested in signing Kendrick Bourne. The Juwan Jennings situation also remains in its same holding pattern. Remember that Kendrick Bourne missed a lot of August with a foot injury in New England. So the John Lynch and the 49ers are making sure that they do their diligence on the foot injury and Kendrick Bourne's health. He's now 30 years old before they do pull the trigger on a move like that. Remember, Kendrick, the last time he was here was 2020. That was 5 years ago. He was a young buck still back then, especially the year before that, 2019. Remember, Emmanuel Sanders was the veteran in that wide receiver room, shepherding Kendrick Bourne and others along, of rookie Deebo Samuel in 2019. If Kendrick Bourne comes back to the 49ers now, this would be the example of an inversion. Kendrick Bourne would be the old guy at 30 years old in that wide receiver room for the 49ers. So it's one of those things that you really are amazed by how quickly time flies, right? I still remember when Kendrick Bourne was the fresh-faced, wide-eyed young pupil out of Eastern Washington who actually slept in and missed a meeting early on and drew the ire of Kyle Shanahan. Kendrick told me that story back in 2018. And he was actually inactive for the first couple games of his rookie season in 2017 because of that, but obviously learned from it, has earned multiple big contracts at the NFL level, and maybe, just maybe, Kendrick Bourne can give us a good sense of 2019 nostalgia if he does come back from this foot injury. And a lot of it might still depend on Jauan Jennings, who, very ironically replaced Kendrick Bourne in 2021. And then now it might be Bourne asked to replace Jauan Jennings, or at least temporarily fill in for him. So anyway, it's been such a fun camp with these instant reactions. We got to flip the camera around, take a look at where we do these. This is the location, right in front of Levi's Stadium. You've got the big helmet, and then you could obviously pan up to see where the 49ers are going to be playing all their home games. They're not going to be here until week 3 of this regular season. Week 1 is at Seattle. Week 2 is at New Orleans. And then the 49ers come back here in front of the big helmet to play their home opener. Very much looking forward to it after covering all these practices. In general, John Lynch, when he was on KMBR this morning, seemed very, very excited. I think that the tone from John yesterday, when he had to answer all those Jauan Jennings questions, he just wanted to get out of there, understandably so. There was really nothing new to say, besides the fact that he did acknowledge that Jennings at one point did request a trade, but if the 49ers aren't entertaining it, then they're not entertaining it. It takes two parties for something like that to happen. But today, John Lynch on KMBR seemed very enthused about the 49ers roster. And so much has been made of the youth that the 49ers are bringing to the table this year, roster-wise. I think that, especially if you talk to John Lynch, they believe that's a good thing, and it's hard to see how it would be a bad thing, considering the fact that the oldest roster in the league last year finished 6-11. They finished in really bad spots when it came to some of the metrics that might be influenced by age, like total games lost due to injury, run defense. There's a lot of hunger that has to go into run defense, separation on offense, which was correlated with injuries, but also a lack of team speed. And then they had the whole Devondre Campbell incident, which, that might have been a one-off. The player might not have fit the 49ers culture. I get that, but it is still symptomatic of a lack of the type of hunger that you would like to have on a football team. If you had to go bend over backwards and get a guy like Devondre Campbell just to fill in desperately in a season where you were missing Dre Greenlaw for most of it, if that was a must, if you were just trying to kick the door down and squeeze in one more run, well, that's the kind of stuff that can start happening to you. You could really start showing some cracks due to age. So the 49ers had to get younger. They did get younger. Covering this training camp has been so fascinating because there have been so many new names. There were more roster spots up for grabs at the 53-man cut down than at any point since 2018 or 2019. The past few days of roster construction have been made even more complicated by the injury situation. But here we are with the team now, at least its initial version, built, and with 21 offensive and defensive linemen as part of that build. And now here we are with all 11 of the 49ers drafted rookies still on the team, 10 of them on the 53-man roster, and the 11th, Curtis Rourke, will be there at some point. He's still on the non-football injury list with the torn ACL that he played through last year at Indiana. So the roster renovation is a real thing. Real results will start coming out on the field at Seattle September 7th. I can't wait to cover it, and now I can't wait to step into the 49ers locker room for the first time during a non-game day here in the preseason. That marks the official turning of the page from our training camp / preseason coverage to the regular season coverage. So have a look into the brand new 49ers locker room. They've renovated this locker room just like they've renovated a lot of Levi's Stadium. It's a little bit brighter. The carpet's new decor on the walls. They've updated it with the last division champion marker up on the division champion banner, the last NFC championship as well for the 49ers. So have a listen. Here are the 49ers players entering this 2025 regular season.
Plant in New Orleans and Seattle. his brother is the OC over here, so a lot of carryover with the system, being able to come in right away and, not have to learn a whole new system. There's some things that carry over, some things that don't, so it would be a much easier transition, at this part of the season.
Given the carryover, how did you feel out there in practice today?
I feel great. Got some reps in. Obviously had to fly in late last night. Early start today, so just being able to get back, helmet on, and get rolling.
When you're a fast guy, does it take longer to build a rapport with the new quarterback?
Yeah, obviously you want as many reps as you can with whoever's throwing you the football. And obviously I didn't get that, being a new guy here. So, me and Brock will get on the same page and we'll run a bunch of reps and hopefully we can make it work.
Will there be, an opportunity to get extra reps with him, in the next, 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, we'll get together and figure it out. Obviously still trying to get settled, find a place here, get all the things here settled so I can, live comfortably, and then, if he has some time, we'll get some reps in.
What have they told you about the reason for you being here, what they expect of you, and chances of getting on the field early in the season?
Yeah, obviously they're dealing with some injuries, some suspensions, and, they got some guys here that have been in the system already. But, it's a position where you can come in and compete, and that's what it's all about at this part of my career, is being able to come in and be able to help a team win. Obviously I've been in this league 8 years. I got a lot of knowledge. I played in the system before and had success in the system before. So, it's a no-brainer to be able to come into a place where you can help out in all facets, whether it be on the field or off the field.
You've played with some amazing quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to playing with Purdy?
Yeah, why not, man? He's lighted it up for a reason. He's been really good since he's got into the league. He's led in a bunch of categories. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's very efficient with how he throws the ball, throws a good football. So I'm excited. I got to run some routes with him today, and everything's good.
You haven't been here long, but has Super Bowl 58 been a topic that's come up yet?
I've been here literally 4 hours, so and 2 of them were spent on the football field. So I haven't got to hear much about anything besides what we're doing today.
You spent the offseason with the 49ers Week 1 opponent. Do you have insight into them that can be valuable for this
Yeah,
team?
of course. When you have a common opponent, and obviously I just spent the last 6 months with those guys, and I went against those guys every single day. So of course I'll be able to say, hey, this is the type of things that give them trouble, or this is the type of coverage that they like to play, or this is the style of football that these corners like to play. But it's not any other knowledge that anybody else doesn't have. They just turn the tape on. Everybody does the same thing that they do on film, they do in the next game. So it won't be much that I can say that hasn't been said already. But I'll obviously be able to give more insight to the receivers about, how certain guys play certain leverages and stuff like that.
The way their offensive system is, like you said, you came over to play run-oriented for the most part, though?
Yeah, it's a balance. I wouldn't say it's heavy run or heavy pass. I think they complement each other. You run the ball well, and now you can set up the play action, and you have these things that work well with each other. The boots, the down the field shots, and I think that both Clint and Clay both do a good job of marrying those things up so everything looks the same, and then you can attack defenses different ways. So, yeah.
What was Tuesday like for you? Was that news you were expecting?
Definitely wasn't news I was expecting. It's like I said, I was brought over with that OC, insights to continue what we did the year before. And so when the news happened, it was a shock to me, but it's not my first time. I've been in this league a long time, and one day your number is going to get called, and you won't be on the team. And so you have to be able to understand that and not, take it to heart. And luckily I can still play, and people still want me on their team.
Blocking is a big part of this scheme in the offense for the wide receivers. How do you describe your approach to blocking?
You got to want to, because like I said, the blocking is important, and those blocking aspects of this game set the pass. Because like I said, when you run the ball well, it helps the pass game.
When your agent first told you this was the place you were headed, what was the first thought you had?
Well, it was my decision. So, it wasn't like this is what we're doing. It was like, hey, what do you want to do? And like I said, it was between here and Pittsburgh. Obviously I have a good relationship with Aaron Rodgers over there, and he wanted me back over there. So it was a toss-up, 50-50, and I had to weigh my options and see which one I wanted to do, which was going to be better for my career, at this point, and I was excited about it.
Why did this place win out?
Not having to learn the system, being able to get onto the field, right away. Obviously that's the goal, and so being able to start that process of learning the system, it betters the chances of you being on the field.
You had to make those adjustments. So it was like you were doing it all real quick then, right?
It seems like you hold up physically too. Has that been a challenge?
I take care of my body very well. I make sure my body's 100% each and every day. So I'm always take care of my body, make sure I'm available.
What kept you out of the off season?
I had growing surgery.
Oh, okay. Core.
Yeah, of course.
Was that doctor in Philadelphia?
Yes, sir.
Have you heard the John Lynch was referring to you as the Sultan of Swarm?
I haven't heard that one.
Do you know what that refers to?
Nuh-uh.
Your ability to close on the football. They have their analytics for the pre-draft. Does that surprise you that you're at the top of the list when it came to their evaluations of safeties?
No, I would say I'm surprised. That's my game. I'm gonna own that. So I feel it fits my game.
What are your goals here? Do you think you'll be in the starting lineup week 1?
Whatever comes that day, it happens. That's out of my control. My control is going out there each and every day, not making the same mistakes and getting better 1%. But my goal is to be the starter. If it don't happen, it's okay. But I'm working for that every day. And for this team, I just want us to win. However way I can contribute to that, that's all that matters.
Have you started the process of looking at Seattle?
Of course. We definitely been starting to get in the game plan and preparing for them.
And what kind of stands out to you about your assignment, or if you're out there?
Definitely the receivers. They have more depth now at receiver with Cooper, Jackson, and their tight end. So definitely studying them guys, studying how they move, and looking into their hidden details.
The wide receiver just arrived from Seattle. You probably haven't had a chance to talk to him. But will you try to seek him out and ask him questions about
Most definitely. Just because he's been around those guys, he kind of can give me some, like I said, hidden details that he watched from them the best he can for me.
Speaking about studying the game, do you have any safeties you'd like to model your game after? Any players you'd like to admire or just mold yourself?
Yeah, I feel me and Brian Branch is very similar, very versatile, can play different positions, can be in the run fit, can be a ball hawk. So I definitely say Brian Branch is the biggest one.
How much has Malik Mustafa worked with you? I mean, he's not out on the field with you, but he's been in the war.
He's been with me from the beginning, every step of the way. So he's a huge contributor to my success right now. Just each day in meeting rooms, just guiding me, seeing what he sees, and adding into my knowledge.
Since you've gotten here, where do you think you've made the biggest strides?
I'll just say my fast learning, being able to missing OTAs, that was like a huge part, missing those reps and just able to grasp the defense the best I can. I definitely say that was the biggest thing, where they can be able to trust me out there.
When did it start to slow down for you?
I'll definitely say that first preseason game, being out there actually seeing the game of the flow, definitely slowed down for me instead of practice. I was able to see things. I finally could put pieces together.
And how do you feel from game 1 to game 3 of the preseason?
Whole different person. Game came way slower. I finally can see things. I'm anticipating motions, my alerts. So definitely ahead of the game now instead of behind.
How much differently do you have to attack angles from college to now?
Way different. Because now they're teached to be vertical. In college, they kind of freeloaded it. Now they're teaching go get the touchdown, so you got to stop them. So you got to win your one-on-one, make sure you take the right angle.